Welcome everyone to this week's episode of Unrooted Track and Field Edition. And my guest for this week's show is none other than senior on the track and field roster, Joe Alvarez. Joe, thanks so much for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, you're very welcome. And for those of you who do not know, Joey, you and I, we roomed together for a little bit over half of our freshman year here at Menlo. And I tell you what, that seems like it was forever ago.
Man, it seems so long ago. Time flies, but I mean, it was some memories we made freshman year.
Those are definitely some good memories. We were just talking before we went on the air here, and a lot of things we probably can't relay back to you guys in terms of some of the stories we have, but let's just say it was a very fun way to start off our Menlo experience.
Oh, yes.
Sure.
I mean, it's something that I will always remember that. I mean, it's a fact that we're seniors right now, and we're still talking about those memories from second floor that we made freshman year.
Yeah, I mean, that says it all right there. It absolutely does. Now, you're a SoCal guy. You're from Palmdale, California, and you grew up playing football. You were an offensive lineman here at Menlo College for a couple of seasons before the program shut down. What are some of your greatest memories from playing football?
Some of the greatest memories probably were just getting to travel over the world. Well, pretty much the country, and then going to Canada my sophomore year. I never was out of the country before, so going to Canada, that was an experience. Going to Illinois, Texas, Utah, Vegas, Washington, just getting to travel around with some of the closest guys on campus to me. It was just an amazing experience getting to play on some interesting fields, like going to Eastern Washington, playing on the Inferno, which is an all-red turf field, and then going to Illinois and playing on a candy cane field. It was it was a very interesting thing. Walking out there, it's raining, but it's 90% humidity, so it's hot rain, and we walk onto the field and it's candy cane all the way down, and we're just thinking, this is one hell of a trip. So, I mean, I have some great memories with some great teammates that, I mean, I still get in contact with today. Like having Bryce on the track team is a nice remembrance because he was a sophomore when I was a freshman. So we've been here for a while now.
Yeah. Now, when the Menlo football program shut down, what went into your decision to join track and field?
Well, Dan, you might not like this, but I was kind of pretty bored. So I was actually in my room. I got done with class at like 12. So I got back to my room, and I remember I spent 5 hours watching Netflix in a row. Just watching Family Guy for 5 straight hours.
Sounds like something you would do.
Oh, yeah. And I was just like, I need to be an athlete. I was getting bored. I still had that competitive itch in me. So I remember talking to Dan, and at first I was told there was no throws program, and so I was like, oh well, there's not much for me to do here. And then I ended up talking to him again, and he was like, oh yeah, we're having a throws program. So I was like, I was all conference in high school, might as well just give it a shot. So I contacted him. We got things going. I had my paperwork done from that summer already, so I decided, you know what, give it a shot. And then once I got out there, I was like, okay, this is something I could do. This is definitely, I needed to be an athlete again, and it was definitely gave me the opportunity where I had experience in it, and that was something I'm halfway decent at.
Yeah, and you missed that itch from competing, I'm sure.
Oh yeah, that was one of the biggest things.
Yeah, you being the competitive guy that you are, believe me. Now, off the track, you're one of the most involved members in the Menlo community. You're a resident assistant, event manager, a dual major in marketing and sports management. How do you do it all?
Well, I kind of got lucky with coming back from my 5th year. I'm only allowed to take 4 classes in order to stay eligible. So I have my 4 classes, which gives me a lot of free time. And I don't like free time. I like being busy. So adding all those things onto my on my calendar just really helps me keep busy and keep on my stuff, because the more busy I get, the less room I have to slack, which gives me more stuff to focus on. And then just staying focused, and then I do best under pressure, so it keeps me doing my best work.
Now I have to ask, since today, while we're filming this right now, the first round of March Madness is going on right now, and there might be some screaming going on outside. No idea if anything big happens while we're in here. So who'd you pick to win?
I mean, I'm a Trojan fan for life. I'm kind of sad to say this, but chose UCLA taking the bracket. They're gonna upset. They're gonna upset Kentucky. They're gonna beat North Carolina. They're gonna play Michigan in the Final Four, because Michigan's going on the magical run, and then UCLA is going to beat Villanova for the national championship.
I got a lot of problems with that, because I had Kentucky winning. So your whole pick with UCLA over Kentucky, I had the exact opposite at that point, so I don't like that. I do have them playing Duke, however.
Yeah.
I believe it was Duke and Gonzaga on one side of the Final Four, and then a leap of faith, I went Oregon versus Kentucky on the other side.
I mean, we're both stretching it with Oregon, Michigan. I mean, that bracket is going to be very interesting to see.
There's going to be a lot of red ink on that part of the bracket for us.
Ain't that true?
That's for sure. All right, let's transition over to a little bit of team talk. The De Anza Invitational was last on the schedule, and once again, Menlo continued to shine. They placed in the top 10 on both the men and the women's side of things. What allows this team to be so strong so early in the season?
This, having fall to work out, everyone's pretty dedicated, and having such a strong, with having 3 juniors, well, technically I'm a junior, but seniors and juniors on the team, a lot of us are able to push the younger ones as soon as they come in and let them know, like, we left GSAC last year hungry, knowing that with such a small squad, how well we did, that we were pushing all summer long. And as soon as our new freshmen came in, we were like, listen, this is the goal. There's nothing less that we want. So we pushed hard this whole off season, and then we're all a competitive group. Yep. We all don't like to lose in anything from video games to on the track. So it's a very competitive group. So everyone's pushing each other to be the best. So that's what helps us do so well. We push so hard now to where when it gets lighter in the season for workouts, we start getting healthier and we're starting to hit a lot of our peaks.
Now, jumps have been the early story of the season so far. Elijah Noel qualified for nationals with a long jump of 23 feet and 10 inches. He's already made nationals now. This is the second time in 2 years here at Menlo. What impresses you the most about him?
His maturity from last year to this year has really grown on the track, because he came in last year, he was happy with his marks in high school, knew that he would do well, but he didn't take some of the weight room to recovery stuff as he wasn't as focused on that as much, because he didn't understand the whole process. And then he ended up getting hurt and having to miss half the season, and that really what clicked it for him, where he really matured. And this year came in, was making sure every time I'm at recovery, he's always at recovery, taking an ice bath too. In the weight room, he's pushing hard. He's always making sure he gets enough calories in him. So he's took a real mature step into the right direction for his athletic career.
Now the Oaks swept the triple jump at the De Anza Invitational. Noel, Jonathan Munkholm, and Elijah Redding Moment take the top 3 spots in that category. What would you say is the strength of the team? Is it in the jumps, or is it something else?
Jumps is probably one of our strongest ones, just because we do have Noel, who's one of the top jumpers in the country. Jonathan Munkholm is definitely someone that's been a dark horse that no one really talked about until now, where all of a sudden he's taking triple jump and he's leading the conference in triple jump. He's working on the high jump. He's going to be one of the top competitors in high jump. And then we have Elijah Redding Moment, who no one's really thinking about either, to where you never know where if he hits his mark and make sure that he's at 100%, he's someone that's going to push everyone. And that's the thing, we have 3 great jumpers that they're pushing each other 100% at practice every day. So that's one of the key parts, is they're very competitive amongst each other, and they're pushing each other to where our field events in general are probably our strongest group.
Now, you placed 9th in the shot put with a personal best. You also set personal marks in the discus and javelin at the last invitational. Do you feel yourself getting stronger as the season continues to progress?
Oh yeah, I definitely feel stronger coming out of last year. I definitely worked on my strength, because I didn't have a summer focusing on track. So I came into the season kind of out of shape, had to work my way into it, and then it kept me a little behind the curve. This summer I was able to really mature my body, get me a lot stronger, and I've been working hard this whole off season to where we're still pushing heavy weights in the weight room. It's just my body's starting to catch up on recovery a little bit more, and being leaner, I'm able to hit a lot of my marks, because I'm a lot stronger now, so I can hit my positions, and then that's what's causing everyone to improve. And I mean, I've had a PR every meet this week, or every meet this season, and that's the goal, is to lead every meet with a PR, and then hopefully GSAC at 4, and let's hopefully get away with some medals.
And it's a good point you bring up, because back in high school, when you were doing track and field and throwing, you were also a football athlete, so you were really focused on that. It was kind of, I don't want to put you on the spot here, but track and field was kind of the secondary sport.
Oh yes, most definitely. It was mostly a sport to keep me in shape. So it was like, I don't want to get out of shape for football, so let me do track and field, keep me in the weight room, keep me active, so I don't get out of shape too much, so that when football season comes around, all right, I'm ready for football. But now it was really having to transition to a track body, a track mindset and really working on that, so where now I'm starting to improve and see a lot of it coming out in practice. So now I just got to take that to the meet, and let's see where we end up on the performance list from there.
Now this weekend you guys have the Hornet Invitational. It's always a very competitive event, and head coach Dan Noel has said this is probably going to be some of the best competition that you guys face all year. It was an event you guys competed in last year. What is the preparation like, and what are you guys expecting?
Preparation is focus on your events, because a lot of us, last week we did 4 events, almost all of us. And this week I have the most with 3 events, and a lot of our other throwers have 2 events. A lot of the other than the HEPs, a lot of us have cut down to only 2 to 3 events. So we're really focusing on strong points in our events, really focusing on make sure you hit your mark, get your technique down this right, because this is one of the biggest meets that we'll go to, other than maybe the Stanford Invitational. But I mean, we're going out against Stanford, San Jose State, Nevada, Sac State, Stanislaus State. So it's like, this is a big time meet, and I mean, it really helps us, because when we're around that competition, it's either you got to step up or you're going to get left behind. So you'll see a lot of us end up taking that big step towards us. So when we end up getting that conference and we look around and go, I went against Nevada, San Jose State, and Stanford, I'm not really too worried about these people right here.
Yeah, I mean, you're facing a bunch of D1 programs right here. Then you go back into the GSAC conference playoffs, and you're thinking, well, I face guys that are a little bit better than this. So,
exactly.
You know what? You're ready, and you guys have a lot of athletes who love to shine under the spotlight. That's for sure. So it shouldn't be a big issue for you guys.
Not at all.
In this invite. All right, Joe, let's transition to the final segment of the show. It's called Brownie Bites. I have 3 kind of random questions for you. Give me your best answer.
Okay.
Question number 1, and I don't like doing this, but I'm going to throw myself under the bus. What was the worst part about me being your roommate?
There wasn't too much bad. Only thing I would have to say was those nights that you would go to bed at like 8:30, 9 o'clock. And it was probably like a Friday night, and it was 9 o'clock, and you're like, all right, I'm going to bed. And we're like, oh, all right, we'll transition to the hallway.
Yeah, I am a bit of an early to bed guy. And, you know, get up a little bit earlier. So that was, I'm sure, a bit of a problem for you.
Not
I know
too
you
bad.
like
Luckily,
to stay up a little bit.
Yeah, luckily I had Nick and Anthony across the way, so it wasn't too bad.
At least you had some company down there. Question number 2: which teammate is most likely to hit a pedestrian with a shot put or a discus? And by pedestrian, I mean anyone who's just not exactly in the event.
Okay, so I'll have to, there's 2 guys, 1 for each. So shot put, it would have to be Bryce Howard. Sometimes he gets a little bit loose. And then for the discus, it has to be Hector. Hector on the discus throw, sometimes I've seen some interesting things.
I'm not even going to inquire about that. Question number 3: which teammate would have the hardest time transitioning to a throwing event? So it's got to be someone who's not already a thrower.
I think it would have to be Richard, because Richard, I don't know if he could sit in a position for too long and focus on the wall, making sure he powers through. That's one that I'm like, he's a little too spazzy to where he might be in the back of the ring and then just lose it from there.
Yeah, I don't know if Richard can freeze in a position like this, like he's gearing up for it. He'd probably, by this point, he's bouncing off the wall.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
He's not doing that. Joey, it's been a pleasure catching up with you, my friend.
Been great, Brian.
Thank you for joining me. And fans, don't forget the Hornet Invitational is this weekend for Menlo College Track and Field. It's hosted by Sacramento State, and it's on March 17th and the 18th. That's tomorrow, so Joey's going up there getting a good night's sleep, hopefully, and ready to compete in your events tomorrow. Well, we invite you to stick around for next week's show. Joey will be selecting the next interviewee here on Unrooted Track and Field Edition, so you'll definitely want to see who he picks. I'm Brian Brownfield. Thanks so much for tuning in, and we will see you back here next week.